overcoming adversity, doing it at all costs, making wins at all loss. Yeah, the world is all lost, yeah. Ain't no turning back, we headed straight for the stars, yeah. Oh yeah, we overcoming adversity, doing it at all costs, making wins at all loss. Yeah, the world is all lost, yeah. Ain't no turning back, we headed straight for the stars, yeah. Oh yeah.
Welcome to the Overcome Adversity podcast, where it's all about transformational growth and having a resilient mindset. Before we get started, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. I'm your host, Michael Allison. And today we got my good friend. He's a combat veteran. He had one tour in Iraq, one tour in Afghanistan. He goes by the name of Turbo Maiden. He had his business in the Web3 as an influencer. He's also been in the game with the music industry, financial literacy, and the crypto education. His mission is also just to empower people with the knowledge and information that he has gained. But my brother did struggle when he transitioned out of the military. He also suffered with the lack of acceptance once he got back. And he was also on the brink of suicide. Let's welcome to the show my good friend, Mr. Turbo Maiden, man.
Yo, Michael, man. Thank you so much, bro, for having me, man. I'm so excited to be here with you.
My brother, thank you so much for joining me today, man. I know we're talking backstage, and we have so much in common, man, just our serving in the military, serving overseas, and defending our country, man. So I just want to tell you, salute you, bro. Thank you for your service as well, brother.
Yeah, you too, fam. Salute.
Appreciate it, man. So, bro, you got so much knowledge, so much stuff that I've been learning about you, man. If you can, man, tell us how you got to where you're at today, man, and your entire journey, man.
Man, it's been absolutely crazy, Michael. I grew up in a small town, Springfield, Ohio. There's a lot of crime, here. It's, we're a very impoverished community, just because of, like a lot of the industry and stuff, the steel mills and stuff were shutting down, a lot of factories and stuff. So, at one time when everybody was kind of flooding here, for work and, to get jobs and careers, and people were really starting to excel. But once they started shutting down, we started to see the effects all across the community there. And so, grew up, pretty, as we got older, my mom, she did, obviously get different employment stuff, and we were kind of working our way out. But by the time, I was out of school, I went straight into the military, started off in the National Guard, I knew, I was like, man, look, I just need out of my environment. I tell people all the time, they're like, oh man, you're such a hero. Thank you so much for your service. I'm like, look, I'm gonna be straight up with you 100. The only reason I went into the service was for myself. Like I needed to get out of this environment, and I saw the military as an opportunity to be able to do that. Once I got into the Army, I fast tracked, made E5 like right out the gate. And then I really started to see, as we were in Iraq and stuff like that. I was logistics, and we got it overseas, and they're like, all right, Sergeant Porter, you're on patrols. And I'm like, what? Not me. I'm supply. And they're like, nah, you talk all this junk. You on patrols. And so, and I'll tell you, Michael, it was so crazy because in my A bag, bro, I literally didn't bring any of my pouches. I was such a pogue, bro. Like I had like a comforter, my Xbox, and a television wrapped up inside of my A bag. And they're like, yo, you're on patrols. I'm like, oh man. I'm like, well, I ain't even got I ain't got no bandolier. I ain't got no doggone ammo pouches. So, so my NCO, he was gathering them up, man. And 19 hours later, we were heading to, down through Riyadh to where the Tigris and the Euphrates meet.
Yeah.
And it was on, what I'm saying? And I'll tell you, man, it was like from that moment on, it was like, really, that was the breaking moment. I'm saying? Like, there's gonna be times in your life that you need to step up and be a leader, whether or not it's what you do or don't do or whatever it is, but not only your life could be counted on it, but others too. So, so I went through the military, I had a great career in the military. I understood the game, what I'm saying? I just excelled, my last position, worked at Fort Benning, Georgia as a logistics officer, as a staff sergeant. I was a logistics officer at Fort Benning. I worked directly for General McMaster at the Maneuver Center of Excellence, creating curriculum and delivering curriculum, to the captains there. And I ended up medically discharging. You know how it goes, what I'm saying? Like, going from that combat soldier to a training soldier, my mind didn't click, like I'm a 10th Mountain Soldier, what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Climb to glory. And so, like really when we were there, man, like the environment really was about, like there was no such thing as mental health. What I'm saying? Like if you talk mental health, if you started talking about you were down or bad, like you were just gone, what I'm saying? Like no one remembered your name. There was just a hole in formation, and that was it. So, it was such like that mindset of just like, you keep driving, you don't make excuses. But then you get over in the training world and they're like, how do you feel today? I'm like, how do I feel? Like, what do you mean, how do I feel? You know what I'm saying? Like, we all talk about our feelings. And so, going through that transition was different. Like really starting to realize like, okay, one, like, hey, it's okay to ask for help. Two, trying to learn how to ask for help. And then three, they put me out of the army. You know what I'm saying? They're just like, you're out of here. So, it's definitely I saw a huge issue, in the VA system, across the board, with the services they provide. I tell people all the time, they're like, well, you have free healthcare. I'm like, yeah, it's free. It's free. Like, that's what you get. And so through all of that, man, what it came down to is like, what are we going to do? Are we going to sit back, or are we going to take like these matters into our own hands and start helping our own, because that's what we do, like as a non-commissioned officer. You didn't make excuses, you know what I'm saying? You found solutions, and that's what you went out and did. So, I came into the civilian world, couldn't find a job. You know what I mean? Like nobody really wants to hire these high driving, hard charging veterans, you know what I'm saying? Because we bring a lot to their business. We show a lot of holes, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
They're in that kind of that, traditional swing, whatever. And I'm sure there are businesses out there, you know what I mean? The ones that I worked with, did not work out. And so that really caused a strain, man. Like I lost my identity, coming out of the military, being someone that was, highly respected. Like, all across the board. I was training soldiers from all over the world. And so, like coming back into the civilian world, they're like, that don't matter to us, And so through all that, man, it's like, it got hard, like I, losing my identity, like struggling in my marriage, just from, she has her traumas too, that she went through, like with war. And I think we don't spend enough time talking about that. And October 31st, 2019, it, really came to a head where I really found myself just like, okay, either I want to save the world or I want to kill myself. And so I smoked the joint, I got my medical card, and so I was sitting down and I smoked the joint, and I just started crying, man. And I was like, I looked around, I was like, nobody's gonna find you. Nobody's coming. And so I was like, that's it. I'm gonna decide right now. So I went in to get my dad's gun, and I went inside, and I got to the kitchen, and I was like, man, what did I come in here for? And I just completely forgot what I went in for, but on the table was a book, and it just said write. So I took that book and I started writing, and it was really this, and I wrote this long letter. It was really a conversation between my ego, myself, and God. And it was like from that moment on, I was like, I'm still here, so I'm going to change the world. So I just completely changed. You know what I'm saying? Woke up one day, I was like, I want to be Turbo, and started making everybody call me Turbo, even my mom and stuff. And I had this really crazy spiritual journey, which maybe one day we'll tap into. Is really dope. But at the end of it all, I was like, look, I want to help people. And, that's what we did overseas. We truly made a difference. And that's what I want to do now. So that's how I got into the Web3. You know what I'm saying? Like I stumbled in, I went on to Twitter. I had a buddy of mine. He was like into crypto and stuff. And I was like, I just kind of started dabbling and making music a little bit. And I had some art pieces and such. And he's like, man, you got to get into this, bro. Like, trust me, you got to get into this. And so he pushed me into the Web3. And I got in, man, and it was like a rocket ship. You know what I'm saying? It's like nothing I've ever experienced in my life.
Man, what an incredible story, man, and an incredible journey. You showed so much resilience, bro. As I'm listening to your story, I'm like, I see myself in your story because I went through some of the same things you went through, bro. I was thinking like I joined the military because I told you I played football.
Yeah.
I tore ACL and MCL, so we didn't have the financial means and all that. So I joined the Marine Corps.
Yep.
And once I joined it, I did like it afterwards, but I didn't know what I was expecting, quite honestly. And then it's so crazy when you said mental health. Nobody talks about it. I remember when I tried to get my first job, and the company that I was trying to get a job with said it was military friendly and all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Once I had some mental health issues, I lost the job.
Yep.
So it's so interesting that you brought that up. Hey man, we have a lot to unpack from what you just shared. So growing up, you grew up in a biracial home, if I'm not mistaken. So if we could unpack that a little bit before we jump into some of the other stuff, how was that experience for you growing up? Was there any issues with that, or in your type of neighborhood that you grew up in?
Yeah, man. You know, it's actually really funny, Michael, man. It's nuts because both my parents actually are white, and you know,
Mhm.
I came out mixed. And so, you know, it was like really a struggle, you know, growing up because like no one knew why. Like everybody's like, you know, I come from a very small town, you know what I'm saying? And so,
Right.
you know, I'm like, man, you know, like what's going on? Like, why am I black and everybody's white? And you know, my mom's just like freaking out and stuff like, you're not black, you're white. And I'm like, no, I'm telling you. So it caused a lot of identity issues, man. I quickly learned that, you know, like, I had to be white at home, I had to be black at school, you know,
Mhm.
and so I had a really unique opportunity, you know, to see both sides. We fast forward. I'm gonna give a little fast forward in this, Michael, just because like people are probably like, wait a second, like what do you mean? Uh, so fast forward, right? 26 years. When I'm 26 years old, my real dad, who wasn't really part of my life, he sends me a picture of his dad who had died in a house fire when he was 13,
Wow.
and his dad was mixed, and so no one knew. And so that's how I ended up, you know, with getting the skin tone. But I'm actually Nigerian and Scottish,
Oh
and
wow.
so what the thing that was so crazy is growing up, man. It was like I was never like whoever, like whichever side was on the winning side, I wasn't that side. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? So
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
if things were going great over on the white side, you know what I'm saying, then I was too dark. If things were going good on the black side, I was too white. And so, but really, man, like what I got to see is that like we're all so the same. It just sounds a little bit different. Like we're all going through the same stuff, but yet like we still want to attack and hate each other. You know what I'm saying? And so it left me like right in the middle, you know. And I
Yeah.
learned to adapt. I learned how to be able to talk to anybody. I learned how to get in any room. You know what I'm saying? Because you know there are, you know, code words and the way that we talk and inflections and things that helps us to identify each other, right? Because just from a safety security standpoint, right, and evolution, it's crucial. You know what I'm saying? Like you know, understanding our environment. So even though like it was tough, like I'm not gonna lie, it was extremely challenging at times and confusing. You know what I'm saying? Like it was extremely confusing. I think in the long run, it really made me who I am. It gave me a level of understanding that you know a lot of people don't have the opportunity to have, thankfully or unthankfully, right? In that,
Right.
but it just really made me like at the end of it, man. This I'm gonna tell you this, Michael, man. This is where I came out of it, right? If somebody can hate me without knowing me, then I should be able to love somebody without them knowing me.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow. That's crazy story, bro.
Yeah.
Hey man, so you decided to join the military. When you was getting ready to join, was there any anxiousness, nervousness, second guessing yourself? Did your parents say like, "What the hell are you doing?"
Bro, it was so crazy, man, because you know, I got kicked out when I was 17. And so like you know, I got kicked out. My mom came in, she's like, get out of the house. So you know, I moved out. I moved in with this a buddy of
Why did
mine.
you get kicked out?
Huh?
Why did you get kicked out?
Oh man, look, I had thrown her clothes on the floor. They were in the dryer, and I had taken them out and threw them on the floor because that's what she did with my clothes. And even though that was like the catalyst that catapulted, man, it was just like, you know, me and my mom, like she was 16 when she had me. You know what I'm saying? So we grew up together, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, it was like it's just really rough, man. You know what I mean? Like you know, she's trying to find herself. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, like I'm a kid growing up. You know, like we moved around a lot. So like it was just we had a really like just really tough, you know, tough upbringing together, right? Like our relationship. I really look at my mom as like I love my mama. You know what I mean? I'm a mama's boy to death. We have a different relationship just in the sense of you know how we grew up and stuff like that. So you know, just through all of that, you know, like she just wanted to make sure I graduated high school. I had already, you know, I always tell her I want to move out, and so it's just something that came to a head one day. She kicked me out. I moved in with my buddy. It was his girlfriend. She actually had an apartment, but she wanted to live with him. So she was like, "You can just live in my apartment." She left all of her stuff there, and so I would just let any of my friends who didn't have anywhere to live, they could just live there. And so it was just like I left the door unlocked. I always had music playing in this apartment building, and like people just like I'd just come in, man. There're just always people there, and and it was absolutely crazy. I'll make this point, and I'm sure we'll come back around to it. You know, like I'm currently going through a divorce now, you know, and this will be the first time in my life, Michael, that I've ever lived alone in
Wow.
my entire life. It's gonna be nuts, man. So
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, man. Let's jump back into the what I was asking. So, like, what was it like for you to join the military? Did you deal with any anxiety or any like stresses
Oh,
before you joined?
yeah, that's right. That's right. That's where we're going. Yeah. So I had to get to that point because these guys I move in this apartment, right? and they were in the National Guard. And so one weekend out of the month, like I couldn't hang out with them. So I signed up and I went back and told my mom, and she was just like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Why?" I was like, "Well, because my buddies do it. You know what I mean? And I
Mhm.
want to be able to hang out with them." And so, like my family and stuff, like I think that they were excited in the sense that that they knew that I needed the structure in my life and the discipline and stuff. But it was like during the actual like surge, so like we everyone knew like we were going to war. So
Right, right.
yeah.
So when you joined, right, and you go to boot camp and you get ready to go to like your first duty station, what was your like revelation moment like when you joined the military? Like, oh shit, like what was
Yeah,
that like for you, man?
I think the moment, because I originally went to the National Guard, and I was the worst soldier. Michael, I was the worst soldier in the United States Army. Do you hear me? Like I swear to God, bro, my first day, I'm in a one-on-one meeting with the First Army in this little office. There's nobody else in the room. He's talking to me. I slouch into my chair. I lean my head back, and I went to sleep. He's talking to me, and he was like, and I know I was asleep for a minute because I was dreaming. And he was like, "Soldier, are you okay?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, First Sergeant, it's so warm in here." Like, bro, I'm talking about I was crazy soldier, right? And so through this, like basically I was in the guard for like 6 months. I'm wilding out, bro. Like, I mean, like just the wildest stories you could ever imagine. And so we do our 2 weeks in the summer, right? And again, like I was just a terrible soldier. I was logistics, so like we had like the supply trailer, with the air conditioning. So of course I
Yeah.
had my TV, my Xbox, everything hooked up. So when they were doing training stuff, I would take breaker bars and I would just wedge my door shut so nobody could open the door from the other side. And we would all just sit in this little trailer and play video games. I mean, like, bro, we were nuts, right? We come back, I get a phone call, and it was my roommate who she was also in the guard with me. And she's like, "Hey Porter, are you coming today to guard?" I was like, "Oh no, I'm not gonna make it." And she was like, "Well, you're getting promoted today, bro." So I get my BDUs out of the corner. I do the, flip them out. You know what I mean? I put them on. I have a beard. My boots were gray, bro. Like I'm talking about not one lick of polish on these things. I show up to formation late, bro, looking like a soup sandwich. And I just walk in, just get it attention, like I'd been there the whole time. And they look and they're like, so they stopped the formation. And they gave me a razor so I could shave. And they ironed my uniform and someone polished my boots up. Remember the old sticks, the quick
Yeah,
sticks.
yeah, yeah.
And so they polished my boots up. We come back, and bro, not only did I get promoted, I also got Soldier of the Month. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, it was nuts. And then right after that, so they promoted me, and then like right after that, they were like, "We're going to Iraq," and I was like, "Yo, I'm not going to Iraq with y'all. Like, if I'm going to Iraq, I'm gonna go with people who do this every day." So actually went in. I went active duty. And so I had to go back because I went from a 92 Alpha to a 92 Yankee, still
Mhm.
logistics. And the revelation moment, man, came. What I'm saying? I'm calling, my duty stations. Like my soon-to-be ex-wife, is my girlfriend at the time. She's like, "Where are we going? Where are we going?" And I get on the phone. They're like, "You're going to Fort Drum, New York." I was like, "I'm going to Iraq." I was like, I already knew it, right? Like, so that was in that moment, man. I was like, you better get your stuff together, boy, because you're about to go to war. And so, I never really was like worried about going to war. I didn't
Mhm.
want to go to combat. I didn't mean to. I didn't mind the support, but after going to combat, man, I wouldn't change it for the world. So
So you get ready to go to combat, man. As I'm saying that, I was thinking for myself, I you know, when I joined the military, that it was always around the intentions of like using a GI Bill to go to college, right? I know that going to war is inevitable, is a potential, but once 9/11 hit, then it was like this is real. Like there's a good probability that I'm gonna go. So once I got to California and our captain told us that we was going to Iraq, I I like dumped everything, man. Like I broke up with my girlfriend, cut everything off, all that stuff, man. So I just like prepared for the worst. So for you, I wanted to ask you, man, once you got ready to go in that transition and preparing for war mode and all this other stuff, man, what was that like for you, like getting ready to get into country and all that stuff?
bro, I'm like 20 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got no idea. You know what I'm saying? Like, I honestly, like, looking back and thinking about, that young self, because I just got promoted to specialist, right before I went active. So when I went active duty, they were like, well, you have to lose a rank and, you have to, whatever. And I told them, I was like, well, I'm not going to go active then. Like, I'm not going to do it. And they're like, it was the surge, you know what I mean? So of course, they signed a waiver. So I showed up as a specialist, but I knew, bro, like when I went active duty, I knew that this was my opportunity. That like if I just played the game, I'm gonna do this full time, right? You know what I'm saying? Like I got to go there, I got to be in the right uniform. You know what I'm saying? Like I went to act in the active duty, like like in a different mindset than when I did in the guard. And so when I showed up, man, my very first day, Sarn Pugh, who's like still my mentor to this day, I still talk to him regularly. My very first day, I showed up like, what I got to do to get promoted? He's like, what's your first day? Let's start there. Okay. And, and within the first, like, 6 to 8 months, I was promoted to E5. And so, 20 years old, man, I'm commanding troops on the battlefield. You know what I'm saying? Like we're rolling around like cowboys, doing it. And
Yeah,
so
it's
I
pretty
might have
exciting.
missed your question there. You know what I'm saying? A little bit. But really, like it was, it really comes that it comes, the whole circle to this is that like, for me, man, like I really can't answer because like I was so young, I didn't have any clue. You know what I'm saying? I just kind of showing up.
So let me ask you this then. Once you started experiencing combat and you was actually going through like missions and patrols and like all these things that you're dealing with, um, I know you could have experienced like some serious stuff. So based off whatever you want to share, but can you share some stuff that you experienced out there that was totally traumatic to you that kind of like sticks with you today?
Man, that's the wild thing. Like I was blown up in Iraq. We did hit an IED. We were in several firefights. Like we were out there doing our thing and stuff. And really, man, I'll tell you, like the thing that bothers me the most today is the effect that it had on my soldiers. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like, and how like they're still messed up. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they're dealing with their issues and stuff. Because like, I mean, like, bro, we were combat arms. You know what I'm saying? We were the field artillery. You know what I'm saying? We had our whole patrol set. We had no combat arms guys in our patrol set. We were all soft skill MOSs. That
Right.
had to stand up these patrol sets, and so, like that's really, I think, like the thing that bothers me the most today. At the time, man, we were like cowboys. We had no idea. We did a lot of really stupid stuff. Like especially like with bullying and stuff of each other, because that was kind of the culture.
Right.
And I think that like it might not necessarily answer your question exactly, but like today, the thing that most bothers me is like the effect that had on my soldiers. Because bro, we were so young, like we didn't know. You know what I'm saying? Like we had no clue. We just out there just rolling around. Young, dumb. So
Yeah, yeah. So once you guys got ready to exit country, I wanted to ask you, what was that like with that transition? And then like coming back to civilian life, or you know what I mean, coming back
yeah,
to
yeah.
civilian life, man. Like, what was that like for you just to get acclimated and coming back to your girlfriend and your family and all that stuff? What was that homecoming like for you?
Yeah, man, it was wild, bro, because like Iraq, we came back and everybody was like, we're normal still, you know what I'm saying? Like that that we left, we came back, and that was it. We did 15 months, bro. That was a long one. And excuse me. And so, but what my wife at the time, what she was telling me was like, you're different. Like you quit bullying me. She said I'd bully her all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, we just pick at each other and stuff, and do all that. And so she was like, you're bullying me. Like you're not the same. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like we're having fun, like, and all of our guys were drinking heavy. We started just like really drinking a lot. And it was really kind of this beginning of coping, that we didn't know, right? We all wanted to stay close to each other. We wanted to drink together. You know what I'm saying? Like we just wanted to be in that, whatever, kind of in that place, together. And that's really where she started noticing it. But to me, it was like, you're crazy. I've just been gone. But then, like we have 11 months, we're in JRTC for, 3 months, or 2 months at that time. We have training up to that. We got to pack out. We got to do all these things. And we were in Afghanistan.
Mhm.
So we had 11 months from the time we landed back and we were back in Afghanistan. So now when I came back from Afghanistan, bro, that's really where I started to notice things might be wrong. Like I was having real like issues with my memory. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I could remember things. Like I was like just tired all the time. I mean, I had this like just constant combat fatigue. Depression was starting to kind of set in. And that's really where I started to notice things like kind of taking that downhill slope.
So if you can, man, I guess give me the breakdown of this. So I never went to Afghanistan. I only did Iraq. So what would you say would be the difference of both environments?
Man, like in all honesty, bro, like they were really like probably fundamentally the same.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? As far as like just being on the patrols and stuff like that. I think what the main difference, like when you start to do multiple tours, is that you're like, yo, I dodged the bullet again. How many times am I gonna miss? Right. Like there's actually a show that's on that's out there. It's called Bomb Patrol, and it's really hard to find it now. It was on G4 TV, and
Mhm.
so we were actually their security element, and we drove them all over Afghanistan. Finding IEDs and caches and stuff like that. And so, like in that show, getting to see that from the outside, kind of looking in. And of course, they like make it look like way more dramatic. And I don't even know, bro, because like there's this one part in the show where like we run over an IED, like we just drive over this IED, and I'm like
Uh-huh.
in the truck on the show, like I'm like, yo, I'm in that truck. You know what I mean? We didn't know that there was an IED that was under there,
Wow.
until like after, but like even like after we were like while we were in country, we ran over this IED, and the effects, and they're like, hey, there was an IED there. You guys ran over an IED. When we were in country, it was like, oh, okay, yeah, we probably do that every day. But when I'm sitting on the couch watching it with my family, and they're like, oh my god, like that was an IED, and I was like, oh man, like yeah, it's the conditioning, bro. Like I've always told people, when I went in the army, I feel like they poured my vessel out. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And they took all of these lessons that I had taken from life, so all those bad things that I experienced, and the good things too, that kind of made my personality and who I was. When you get to basic training, it's really like they dump that vessel out, and they fill it back up with those new things, and that was just kind of a part of it, like,
Mhm.
oh, it's just a part of the job.
Wow, man. So after you served and you get ready to transition, you mentioned that you kind of struggle with like your identity. Can you talk to me about what that transition was like for you when it was like time to, I guess, acclimate to what civilian life is, acclimate to getting a job, dealing with, just all your family members, everything that comes with like real life experience and paying bills now, um, trying to get a car if you didn't have one back then, you know what I'm saying? All these things that life is hitting at you that I would say kind of like the military kind of like covers like your food, your
Yeah.
house, your living, and all these things.
Yeah, man. Like so. I medically retired. Out of the army, I had a situation that had happened, and basically they were just like, okay, I went through some inpatient program, and then like because I was working at the Maneuver Center of Excellence. Things kind of moved a little bit faster than maybe for some. About
Right.
6 months from the time I started to the time I was out. And so, basically November 30th, 2015, you know what I'm saying? Before Christmas, like so I'm getting out November 30th. I'm going back into the world. I'm not getting a paycheck in December, like we're living check to check, you know what I'm saying? Like in the military. And so my first month that I'm not receiving a check, we have Christmas, we're supposed to be traveling, all these things. And it was crazy, man. Like, but actually I was pretty blessed. I'll share a quick little story about it. It was like, I forget what day it was exactly. It was like maybe the week before I got out. I woke up and I was like, man, I need to go to the casino. And my ex was like, what? You want to go to the casino? Like, we ain't even gonna get paid. And you want to go to the casino? We ain't got the money for this. I'm like, well, look, I was like, I don't know. I was like, I just have to go. I was like, so I'm gonna take $100, and if I win, then cool. And if not, then I'll call it my Christmas and we'll be good or whatever, right? So I go, so she's upset. I drive to the casino and I win $5,000 at the casino.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was super dope, man. I was like, I needed that. Thank you, Big G. And so that did take some of that weight off, because I'm sure without that, like it would have definitely been a little bit different story. They do have some really good services. I will say, like the AER, you know what I mean? Like if anybody's out there, definitely, support the AER, because they're doing a lot of great things for some soldiers. So definitely support them. They have that was prepared. But, I was fortunate enough to hit me a little jackpot, you know what I'm saying?
What's
And I
up?
need it.
Hey man, what would you say were some of the key lessons that you learned while serving in the military, man?
Oh, geez, man. There's Man, there's a ton of them, but I would say that I think that I would say probably the biggest thing I learned was, like everybody has the ability to be a leader. You know what I'm saying? Every single person, you know what I mean? Like now you might not be the leader, you know what I'm saying? But everybody has an opportunity to be a leader. And and what I mean by that is just that, there's these different levels, right? Like leading yourself, leading your family, you know, leading a unit, right? Leading a company. All of
Mhm.
these are different, right? And I think so many times people get so wrapped up that a leader means that you can lead at all levels, and that's not the case. What I mean? And if you don't lead at the highest of the high, then you're not a leader. Like I was the only staff sergeant in the war room. Like every Monday, it's like General McMaster who ended up being Donald Trump's foreign aid advisor.
Mhm.
Like Colonel Snodgrass and all these, just all these incredible, like, 1 stars, light colonels, majors, staff sergeant Porter, and then, a few captains and stuff. The captains are sitting in the back chairs and I'm sitting at the table, and
Right.
it was, and it really showed me, like, that's one thing, man, I love about General McMaster is that, like, he is like the greatest leader, man, I've ever had the opportunity to ever work with, because he treats every person the same, and
Right.
so it was like through his like being around him and seeing the way that he moves and the way he operates, it just really, shows that, like, everyone has an opportunity to be a leader. Some people have an opportunity to be at the top of the chain and, lead at some of the highest levels. And sometimes it's just leading yourself, but it doesn't change, right? Like being a leader doesn't change.
Nice. I love the transformation. And when you tell me your story, how you started and you were slouching in the chair, sleeping, nodding off to this dude that turned into an exceptional leader, guys that's running like instructor and sitting there with generals and all this other stuff. That's pretty dope, man. I love the transformation.
Yeah, man. It's actually funny, Michael Mannigan. I've never actually thought about, so just this moment, it is actually pretty ironic. you know.
Hey man, so I want to get to what we were discussing off air and bring that on air. So you decided once you got out that you're gonna start this new life, new career. You're gonna get into either find a job, start a business or something, and you decided to get into Web3. Like I told you, I don't know nothing about Web3, bro. So if you can tell our listeners your journey, that how you got into your career, business, and all these things that you're doing now, man. Tell us how you got into it.
Yeah, most definitely, most definitely. Yeah. So, so actually, my first job out the military, I was a supervisor at a casting plant, and so I had never poured a cast a day in my life, but I could read blueprints. You know what I'm saying? And so, they give me this job, man. I literally have 14 guys that work for me. 11 of them are convicted felons, and 3 of them are illegal immigrants. And so, like, it was crazy, bro. Like, the job was nuts. Like, these guys are making like $8 an hour. They're working 80 hours a week. Like, it was insane, bro. Like, it
What?
was just like it was unsafe, bro. Like, there was like boards with like nails sticking up everywhere and stuff. And just every day, man. I only worked there for a week. And it's funny, bro, because like on my last day, I literally walked all of my guys off the job and got them new jobs, and we all quit together. And
Mhm.
so that was kind of my journey in the civilian sector, man. I was just going in disrupting businesses, not on purpose, but just because, like, I don't know any other way to come into a business. I went to this interview to be like a project manager for a dog food company. I won't say their name on there. And so I go in and like the guy's super excited and he walks me around their beautiful factory and stuff. He stops and he looks out and he says, "What would you change on your first day?" I was like, nothing. I wouldn't change anything. The first day I would literally go around, I would ask everybody, like what they do. I would watch the system. I would learn, I would take your SOPs and I would learn and read. And then I would find out what the people think need to be changed. It's my first day, like I
Right.
wouldn't change anything. Everything is absolutely beautiful. I don't know, man. That was not the answer he was looking for. So the whole interview changed. Like we didn't stop at any of the other offices. So I knew I wasn't getting the job.
Mhm.
We sit back down and well, do you have any questions for me? It's like questions. I'm like, what? I'm like, you know what? Actually, I do have a question for you. I said, what can I do better next time? And he was like, what do you mean? I was like, well, I was like, my last job, I worked for General Master, right? who works for the president of the United States, and the president asked him for his opinion, and he used to ask me for my opinion. But now you're telling me that I'm not qualified to watch people put dog food into boxes. Like, what more can I bring to the table? He was just befuddled. He didn't really know, you know what I'm saying? He didn't know what to say. But he went back to this whole thing, man. Like, all these businesses say they support veterans and they want veterans to come work for them. They don't. You know what I'm saying? They really don't. You know, like, yeah, it sounds nice. It briefs well. You know, it gets, you know, it makes their shareholders, you know, feel good and warm and fuzzy inside. But in reality, they didn't, right? So I was like, I'm an entrepreneur as well. So, you know, I had like tons of jobs. I actually, I started, I went to work at a huge fitness chain. Best, you know, I was the best in the state. You know what I mean? All my like their little evaluations, man, I ranked the highest among everything. They came to me and they were like, all right, Coach Mike, we're going to let you go. You're becoming bigger than our business. You're a little bit too good at your job. And so we are letting you go, because if you decided to leave, then our whole business would crumble. And I'm like, I'm being fired for being too good. And so they let me go. So I started my own gym. It was called Fit Chick. It was all about empowering women through physical fitness. It was women only. And oh man, bro, like I like blew up overnight. You know what I'm saying? I went from like an 800 square foot facility to like a 6,000 square foot facility. It happened so fast. I don't have like my insurance and stuff set up. This homeless man shows up at my gym. And he's like, man, he's like, can I clean your gym? And I was like, bro, I would love for you to clean my gym. I said, but I can't pay you a reasonable wage. I said, but what I can do is I can take you to the gas station. I can get you some cigarettes. I can get you some alcohol. Like, I get you some food. Like, you can get all them things. I'm like, but I can't let you work without, you know, receiving a reasonable wage. And the guy's like, oh, that's awesome. So he came back and he stole all of my stuff from my gym, everything. And so like that pretty much led me to home. I had a complete mental breakdown. I literally walk into my gym April Fool's Day and everything's gone. So I'm like calling people like, hey, class is canceled because all of my stuff was stolen. And they're like, yeah, right, coach. April Fool's Day. And I'm like, no. Like, this is the most traumatic thing I've ever experienced in my life. You know, and so so literally that happened on Monday. By Friday, I closed up all my stuff. I moved back to Ohio. And that was kind of the beginning of like this. It was like, look, if I kill myself, you know, I know my mom will take care of everything. And so I get back here, can't find work. So I started a construction company. And so, you know, like I started my own little construction company and stuff, and we were booming. We were doing our thing. And then like December 15th of 2019, maybe, because it was like 2020. It was like right at the beginning of like the whole COVID thing. So like I had cut my arm, and dude, I had 15 stitches on the inside and 12 stitches on the outside doing a tile job. And then I was like, bro, I'm not going to die doing this. I'm not going to die out here doing something I love. And so I stumbled into the Web3. You know, I got, you know, like my buddy was like, yo, you got to check this out. And so you know, we started watching YouTube videos. I created my own project. I was excited. And I got on Twitter, bro, and it was just like a whole new world, man. Like the Web3 is nuts. And so just so people understand that the Web3, so literally like Web1 was like, remember we had dial up, like, you know what I'm saying? Everything was very stagnant. Right. Then we move into Web 2, where we start to have, you know, like more capabilities on the web, you know, videos, things start changing. And so now we're just into literally the Web 3. So we're looking at more, you know, wallet connect, the ability to like different security things. Like it's just the next rendition of the internet is where we're at. So and working in there, man, it's all the tech, you know, like just insanity. I see you had a question, Michael. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, so I was in a business master class last year, and they were talking about Web3. And correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the understanding, he taught a lot of stuff in the class, but one of the things around Web3 that he particularly pointed out was that you need to have or host or have a website where you own your stuff, right? So what he was saying that is like, you know, if let's say, for example, Instagram shuts down, Twitter shuts down, or Amazon shuts down, like you, or like, let's say you have a business, you have a follower of over like 1 million people, right? And like you lose them if they're on other platforms, then you lose all of your customers, all of your clients, all these things. You have no way of reaching them. So what he was saying is you needed like a Web3 platform where you have all of your customers' emails, phone numbers, contacts, so you could make sure all those things are secured for you. Am I correct a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, like that's definitely a part of it. I mean, here's the thing, like the Web3 is infinite, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like we are truly like into this place where like we can see that there are no borders. So, like no matter what kind of issues you're having, like, I'm saying on the outside, because like what we're talking about is like decentralization, peer to peer. I mean, that's really like Web3, crypto, like we can roll them together. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm.
so like the whole idea, of decentralization is that we don't need the government like to tell us like every single thing that we need to do, right? And so we want to be able to kind of govern ourselves. And so the technology gives us that ability to be able to do that. But then, the cryptocurrency allows us to get to do like peer-to-peer transactions, right? So if I want to transfer some money to you, I don't need anybody else to be involved. So they can't stop us, right? So one of the things that happened back when they were doing the vaccines and Canada had shut the borders down and they weren't letting the truckers cross and stuff. Well, those truckers were getting paid. And so the Canadians up there, they were shutting down some of their bank accounts and stuff. And they weren't able to get money. They were trying to choke them out at the border. And so we did is we raised Cardano, which is cryptocurrency. The coin is actually ADA. And so we raised ADA, and like they had guys out there that got them wallets, and so we were able to get them money, straight to these truckers. And so it's more like, in that regard, that's yes, but it's so much more, right? Like you can literally do anything.
Wow. All right. So I want to jump to something that you said earlier about one of the jobs that you had. So you said you got fired from the gym because you were better than your boss. And I just wanted to point it out. I was reading the book, The 48 Laws of
Yep.
Power.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, baby. Oh yeah. Trust
And
me,
that
I
was
was on the
number
wrong side. Oh yeah.
one.
Oh yeah. That's probably hey, I suffer from that law the hardest. You know what I mean? I don't mean to either.
Yeah, man. So if you can, man, tell me what are the different types of crypto out there? Is there certain ones, or is there like too many to even like
Bro.
list?
So I mean, like, because every day there's coins being made and stuff like that, and different tokens, and you have NFT projects, and I'm gonna be honest, bro, it really is overwhelming. You know what I'm saying? If for somebody to try to come in, you know what I'm saying, like it's overwhelming. It's still very young. I mean, we're in the innovator stage, which which has its whole like set of flaws and like weaknesses as far as like getting adoption and stuff like that. Like the main thing is like obviously Bitcoin, that's the daddy of them all. And then we start moving into like Ethereum being next, and then like it kind of goes from there. Like different coins people could kind of debate or whatever from there. And essentially these are ecosystems. You know what I'm saying, is what you have. And so there's different, like in Ethereum, like you have these like high gas prices, which probably sounds crazy, like trying to tell somebody, which gas prices are what allows for transactions to happen in this peer-to-peer system. And there's like all these terms, man. You know what I'm saying? It's just like being in the military, right? Like like civilians, like I don't understand what you're talking about using all these acronyms. Like my buddies, like because we do have a couple of veterans that that we work with.
Mhm.
And so we get to go in and stuff, and they have like no idea what we're talking about. And it's the same with crypto, you know what I'm saying? Like where people struggle because it seems so daunting. And too, like quite honestly, there's just aspects of crypto that are like, there's no way, right? Like people were buying monkey pictures, a year ago for like $300. They're worth $108,000 right now. They sell every day. You know what I'm saying? So, if you happen to stumble into the right thing, I mean, right now there's a token out that's called Pepe. Please do not go buy no Pepe token, unless you are like inside of like this ecosystem. But it's a meme token. It's are we able to like curse on here? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're called like, so we consider them shit tokens, like because
Uh,
they literally don't do anything. Like like people are just like, it's just pumping money. You know what I'm saying? And
mm,
at the end of it, somebody's gonna get stuck holding a bunch of worthless tokens, right? And so my partner and I, over the Web3 breakfast, every day at 10 a.m. we do a show, and it's just getting the community together, and it gets off the rails most of the time, you know what I'm saying, but we are working a new format in there. But that's like our big thing, is just getting people to understand, like to kind of don't just jump into things that are pumping like crazy. I know there's probably listeners out there who are like, yeah, I made a bunch of money on Doge. Yeah, well, somebody out there is holding it right now.
mhm.
Um, and so for us, it's really like we want to show kind of the power of the blockchain. The blockchain is immutable, right? It cannot be changed, right? Everything is tracked, everything is traceable. You don't necessarily have someone's identity, but you can literally track everywhere, every penny, every dollar. And that's where that's where the government's going. We're going to be moving into cryptocurrency. So I might have got a little bit off topic there. I got a little.
No, that's fine. So, a friend of mine, he listens to this podcast, and he's into crypto, and he told me about it, sent me text messages and things like that, but it's all new for me. So like, and I'm running my business, and I'm like, this seems so foreign. Like, it seems like I would have to sit down like a whole week, a whole month to like dive deep into this and like learn what this is. So I said, I'm gonna just wait until like I catch the wave or something like that. I probably miss it. So what I wanted to ask you though, man, for people that's like myself, right? I hear the word metaverse. I hear the word Ethereum. I hear the word blockchain, forex, crypto. And I'm like, what is all this stuff? Like, how you break this down? I was at a conference last year, and there's a lady saying something about like you could buy property, like buy houses, or buy land with crypto and all these things and stuff like that. And that just seems so foreign of like the traditional way of buying houses. You know what I mean? So that was just crazy. So if you can, man, shed some light on all these misconceptions for people like me that don't know nothing about all these words. And then just like, a lot of us will probably look at these things like risk. You know what I mean? So if you can
Oh yeah.
talk a little bit about that for me, man.
Oh yeah, look, I'm gonna tell you right now, man. I've been scammed, bamboozled, hoodwinked so many times, bro. It's a part of the game. Because like anything where you have an opportunity for great gains, there's an opportunity for great losses. You know what I'm saying? And so especially like when you're talking about an emerging market that is completely disrupted, it's going to disrupt the entire financial system, the world as kind of we know it as we move forward, right? You talked about metaverse, which is we're in the metaverse right now. This is the metaverse. Like we're literally there right now. Like I'm able to talk to you, see you, interact with you, like in this digital way. And essentially that's what the metaverse is right now. We're going to be able to take it a step further, with avatars and things of that nature where, you're going to be able to be this different person. Right. And with augmented reality coming out, like Apple's getting ready to launch their glasses. Their Apple glasses, which is gonna completely change how we see the world. Being able to receive information, bro. Like literally, the glasses like can tell like what you're looking at, like so they can look at your pupil and see what you're looking at from a distance and zoom that thing into your view. Right? Like yeah, like bro, nuts. Like we are like it's absolutely like insane where we're going, and so in all honesty, bro, like we're moving at the speed of light in this. You know what I'm saying? So it is extremely hard for people to get in, right? Like that's why we're constantly talking about adoption. How do we get people in? Because, bro, like today's news ain't tomorrow's news. You know what I'm saying? Because people are, like you have to imagine, right? Like for the first time in history, right, we have all of the greatest wheel makers in the same communities. You know what I'm saying? We have all the best painters and all the best like whatever, and they're coming together, right? And so we don't know what the effects of that's going to be, right? Like, are they all going to be stuck on the same problems? Like I do a lot of writing about cyber emotional intelligence, which I've probably, I think I coined it myself, which is this idea because in the future, the only way that we're going to be able to tell each other apart is the human spirit, right? Like these computers are literally like I have a bunch of bots that I use every day that make my job like extremely easy. You know what I'm saying? And like they know me, you know what I'm saying? Like my bots, they're learning about me, you know what I'm saying? They know how I talk. They know, I can have my bots, talk, like in the way that I talk. We take this to, even further with oh man, I can't think of what it's called, but basically like there will be like a person just like you see, and it'll be my voice coming through, and they'll move their head, and they'll have human like movements and all these things, and you'll have no idea if who you're talking to is a real person or a fake person.
Wow.
But it's it is tough to get in because there's so much, and so I think really like the place to start is really like find something that you love. I mean, I see you're a collector. I mean, I started off in NFTs. I never really dabbled too much in tokens, only because I'm a collector. I mean, I'm collecting art, and that art might do something. Like there's different utilities to it, but at the heart of it, like I just started off just collecting baseball cards. You know what I mean? That you buy a pack of cards and you sift through them, and you might hit that one that's worth a few $1,000s, and you put it back up on the market, and someone buys it, and you just keep it going.
Awesome.
And that's kind of how it started. Now that we've kind of moved a little bit past that. We consider like PFP projects, profile pictures. And so now we're looking at more of like, okay, hey, like this project I'm working with right now, the Champagne Wives Club, right? For $350, you get this membership into this luxurious like country club where we're going all over the United States, bringing women together, empowering them. 20% of that money goes to human trafficking, to ending human trafficking. It's like, bro, this is where we're going, man. Like where we are able to take our businesses and to add, so many extra layers to them that gives value to, our customers or our employees or our families or whatever it is. And then it comes back to the fact that everything is on the like it's all on the blockchain. You can't change it, right? So if you want to try to scam people, if you want to do people wrong, you can. Just ain't no like everybody's gonna see it.
I see. I see.
Yeah.
Called traceable. So Turbo, now that you're in this space, man, I just heard what you're doing with the Champagne Wives Club. So can you tell me, like, what is it that you and your business partners is doing to like educate and influence the community with what you guys are doing?
Yeah, man, like, and that's what's dope about the Champagne Wives Club, right? Like, cause I'm a part of like tons of projects, man. Like everything from animated series that are going to be coming out in the future to, like actual, like, bro, I'm on this one project, right? It's called Silo Cloud, silocloud.com. Go check it out. Silocloud.com. And, it's like, it looks very overwhelming when you get inside of there, but, they have a metaverse element in there. And when you go in there, you will see some major brands. Like, I don't know how to say the brands, but there's some really, really big box stores that
Okay.
And so you can literally just walk in, right? So I'm on my controller, right? Like my computer. I walk in. I can go up to a television. I can look at the television. I can purchase that television there. They're going to send it to my house, right? Like to my actual house.
Mhm.
But like inside of this, like as they're building, we're talking about real estate, right? So what they're doing is like you can go on there and design your house in the metaverse, right? And then they're going to price it out how much it would actually cost to build it. And then you would buy the house for the price, right? And they're going to build it in real life. So then like you would have your house built in the real life and you would have your house built in the metaverse. So when I go and I buy that television, like I'm going to get one delivered to my metaverse house and I'm going to get one delivered to my actual house. I know, bro. I know, dude. Look, I know it's crazy, man. It's nuts. Like, bro, we are like the things that are like happening inside of this technology are insane. Like it's, bro, it's nuts, man. Like there's and every day there's like tons of projects like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, but with the Champagne Wives Club, I completely forgot the question now. Michael, look, see, I get off topic.
Oh, good, man.
Yeah. So we'll go to the next one.
Let me ask you this. So, how has your experience in the military impacted how you handle and do business today?
Yo, man, I mean, straight up, bro. Like, it's in this world, man, they need leaders. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, that's really where I'm at. I came in very humbly. I understand that, like everybody kind of has to do their time. My current partner, Justin, his on the Twitter, it's at JChains. He's like, one of the biggest influencers in crypto. You know what I'm saying? He been around since the beginning. Is connected with all of the, the top level influencers. He's doing his own thing now. We have our thing together. And, that's really how it was, bro. Like, I just went up to him like, hey, man, I was like, I consider myself wave 2. You know what I'm saying? Like the guys in wave 1, like you guys aren't the best. You were first. You know what I'm saying? And so you could continue to be better. I'm like, but you're blocking out all of these new emerging minds that are coming into the market because y'all were first and you want to secure, y'all's section. I'm like, bro, like you need to we need the good leaders. He's like, okay, Turbo. He's like, let's do it. And so, now we're building. We have a very strong stance with the sex trafficking and stuff because not a lot of people really kind of came out and supported like we thought they would. I mean, we had a great minute. Things are going great. But like, sorry, it was actually him calling. I forgot my phone claim mode. So in that, right, like we were a little bit disappointed, but we're really showing now, like, hey, listen, guys, like this is the issue, right? Like we have this technology that's going to make a difference and an impact on the world. We need to start doing that. It's not just about making a dollar, right? Like we've made the dollar. Now we got to start helping people. We got to start using this platform to have an impact. And if y'all want to do that and you don't want to be involved, in so be it. You know what I'm saying? But this is what
Yeah.
we're doing. And so like I'm really excited just about, like for me, it's like, I've worked with people that, I don't like. I've worked with people I like. I've trained people who were above me. I've trained people who were below me. You know what I'm saying? And so having that experience and understanding that, once it's on, like once you roll out that gate, it's on. You know what I'm saying? And you just have to trust those people. And so, man, the leadership that I developed through the military, I think is completely like I wouldn't change it for the world. You know what I'm saying? Because like now, like in this world, man, like I'm leaps and bounds above, some of the people that are, in the space that would consider themselves leaders.
Got you. So how do you stay motivated and like locked into like your goals? Because you seem like a very high driven, high energy type of guy. So how do you stay locked in with what you're trying to do and staying focused and motivated?
Man, I tell the people around me, you know what I'm saying? I talk a lot of trash, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was the one thing I did in the military, you know what I mean? Like I just talked a lot of junk, you know what I'm saying? Like talked about, like, oh, I'm gonna do this and this, and so people hold me accountable. I definitely got to do better, as all of us can. You know what I'm saying? Do a little bit better as far as like staying on track and on goal. I miss things. You know what I'm saying? Like this world is a million miles an hour. We joke, we say like a day in Web3 is a week is a month, and a month is a year. And I mean, and literally, like we will come back from something that like we just went to New York like maybe 2 weeks ago. Bro, it
Mhm.
feels like that thing was 2 years ago because the amount of stuff that we're getting hit with. So it is very easy to be distracted. But when you find the things that you're really passionate about, the things that you love, like mental health, there's a lot of mental health projects. I'm a mental health advocate as well. My degree's in psychology. You know what I'm saying? And so there's a lot of mental health projects, right? So, like you just kind of find your pocket, and then like you love it so much that like you just don't really miss it. It's not like going to a traditional job. I don't need somebody to remind me, like I'm like, oh, I got spaces all day, or, this and that. And so so like it's just the love of what we're doing.
Got you. I wanted to touch on something you had mentioned early in our conversation. So I know that you had mentioned that you were on the brinks of suicide and like you were feeling like going through like hopelessness and despair. So like at any point like in your career, do you ever like look back at those situations and like what life could have been if based on what you're doing right now?
Man, yeah, like it's pretty wild, Mike, because in all that, man, like in that thing that I wrote when I came to that moment, right? Like it was in this part in this conversation, like where I'm asking God, like, okay, God, like fine, if you're real, then prove it to me. And in the writing it says, once you see me, you will see me in everything and everyone that is around you. That anything that you do onto anything else in this world, you're doing unto yourself. You know what I'm saying? And whether that's through karma, whether that's like, whatever your beliefs is, right? If you do good, you'll receive good. You do bad, you'll receive bad. And so it's like really for me, that's really kind of that takeaway. You know what I'm saying? Like every day it's a constant reminder of like I have the opportunity, right? I have the ability to build and to create and to destroy, right? Like who do I want to be today? How do I want to wake up and go out and attack this world? And yeah, man, you know what I'm saying? Like I wake up and days are hard. You know what I'm saying? I fight negative thoughts every day. You know what I mean? But I have my inspirational, like my motivational, like music. I listen to this thing on Spotify. It's called Wake Up Time. It's one word, Wake Up Time. And it's just like some music and it's different speeches and like and different things like that. And as soon as I wake up, I get my headphones on and I put that in my mind, as soon as I can, right?
Mhm.
Because the one takeaway, bro, that I've learned when it comes to mental health, man, we got to talk to ourselves more than we listen to ourselves. And
Mhm.
so, like, look, like I can't even like. I really think that if I was at that moment, bro, death or life, so I really can't even think back to um, there would be no life, right? Like it was only either death or life. You know what I'm saying in this moment.
That's amazing, man. I remember when I was on that verge too, and something that I always go back to is like I was buying what I was selling myself.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And I was like, I can't keep selling myself this nonsense. Also, what I love what you said was also that you chose to incorporate God in your life, and it sounds like you also made God like your business partner in life and God like your business partner in business too. So like whatever you do, you know what I'm saying, he's gonna be
Yep.
there right there with you. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
funny, man, because I wear like I wear like this giant Jesus piece. It's like it's probably like it's like probably like 9 inches. You know what I'm saying?
Uh,
And so it got broke at my last convention, so he's being repaired right now. And like a lot of people see it, and they come up and they ask me about it and stuff like that, and I'm just like, look, man, like I got two beliefs: God and love. And God meaning in the sense of something greater than ourselves. You know what I mean? Like I don't have the answers. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't, man, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But like I believe, I know there's something bigger than me. And I believe if we do everything out of love, you know what I'm saying, that's how we should live our lives. Even you're going to make mistakes, you're going to hurt people when you do things out of love, because sometimes that love is for yourself. Sometimes you got to love yourself and stand up and say things that are tough and that are hard. But at the end of it all, right, like whatever makes you a good person, just do that. Do, like, what I'm saying? Like I got friends that are Jewish, I got friends that are Muslims, I got friends that are Christians, I got friends that are atheists, and even I got some friends that they believe in Satanism. You know what I'm saying? They're all great people, and I can go to their temples and their churches, and I can sit on their couch and we can talk about whatever it is, because anything good should be received in Thanksgiving. And I think that that's one thing that we've gotten away from, especially in our world today, where everybody's like, no, good only looks like this. Like, no, it doesn't. It can look like a whole bunch of stuff. And if my good doesn't look like your good, you know what I'm saying, and you don't like my good, then don't be here. You know what I'm saying? And that's where the Web3, like, we do Twitter spaces and stuff like that every day. And we have music space, we got mental health spaces, we got DGen spaces, we got all these crazy spaces. Like at any moment that something doesn't fit with you, then that's not your people. You don't have to stay there and attack people and to try to change and convert them. Those aren't your people. Keep it
right.
moving. Go find your people. You know what I'm saying? Because they're out there. And so that's the big takeaway there.
So how is it that you now handle like tough situation, tough adversities, tough obstacles in your day-to-day life now?
Man, like honestly, like it's really like I don't really have like the same kind of tough anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because I know, like I know that we can figure out a solution. Everything has a solution. Excuse me. And so like just having that mindset of like, there is a solution out there, right? And when things start to get a little overwhelming, like I have a great support system. And what's crazy, man, is these are people that like I've met some of them I've never even met in real life, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like it is nuts, dude. I've stayed with probably 120 strangers in the last 2 years, like at their house or like in a hotel. You know what I mean? Like people that I've just met off the internet. You know what I mean? And these people are like the greatest people in my life. And so like when things do start to get a little overwhelming and start to get to that that tough moment, man, I have some great friends that I met in the space that we have open conversations. I'm like, hey, man, sometimes I get down and I'm gonna need your help. You know what I'm saying? And if you start to notice these things, like if you can, like help pick me up, man, because like that's when I'm down. And like, and they do that because like our mission is so large, right? It's just
Right.
like rolling out the gate. Hey, homie, you know what I'm saying? Make sure you tuck your boots, your bootstraps in. Oh, okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? We need that every now and again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So in your day-to-day life now, man, what are some of the things that you prioritize in your life in regards to like self-care and like I'm gonna do this with Turbo. This is what I need in my life every single day, whatever. How do you apply some of these things in your life?
Yeah, man, like well, first and foremost, man, it's like it took me, like I lost a lot of like those parameters and a lot of my good skills when I first came into the Web3.
Mhm.
Because like, bro, it was nuts, man. We were staying up for like 3 days straight. Like, like you're just meeting all these people. Like, it's not good, man. I gained like 20, 30 pounds. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it was just nuts because all of this stuff that I wanted for so long, right? Like to be able to find my people, to be able to like, to go in there and share like, what I got going on, and to be able to hear what other people have going on, and to grow, all of these businesses and these different, things that we've started to find we put ourselves on the back burner. And so that's why, like since we like our breakfast show every day at the midway point, we stop, we put on a song, and everybody has to work out and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So what I mean? Like, so we put on some music, and we do workouts. And so we have a fitness app that's coming out, obviously fitness being a big part of my life. Was going to do some meal planning and stuff like that. And honestly, Michael, man, like we're working on it right now. You know what I'm saying? We don't have the solution. Like we see the problems. We are trying to find how we make that happen because, like I said, things move so fast
Right.
that like it's so easy to get sucked in and consumed. So, like I said, before, like I put my headphones on and I listen to my motivational music, you know what I'm saying? That talks talks the things I need to hear about staying consistent and putting myself first and just loving myself, those reminders. But in the future, right, like we're developing the fitness app, right, which is a 15-minute workout, right? We're as many times you can do is 15-minute workout, and that's kind of the idea behind it because like for me to think like I'm gonna be away from my phone for 45 minutes, it's just so far from reality of
Right.
the ability of what I can do. You know what I'm saying? Like it never stops. I can't even have I have to keep my phone on silent all day because like of how many phone calls and like emails and texts. I have like 106,000 unanswered emails, like
Oh my,
400 like text messages, like 600 like missed phone calls. Like it's crazy.
bro, you busy. Hey
Busy.
man. All right. I ain't gonna keep you too much longer. I know you're busy. So what I wanted to ask you is has there been someone in your life that or now that's been super impactful in regards to like being a mentor and accountability partner that has played a key role in your life today?
Yeah, man, definitely. I would say you, Michael, right here. You know what I mean? Like this moment that we're having right now. You know what I mean? Like this is I think this is an awesome thing that you're doing. I'm super excited to see where you're growing to. Like for me, man, I look back. I was reading a book and I forget the name of it now, but they were interviewing Mother Teresa and they asked her. They said, Mother Teresa, like you were this little old frail lady. Like how were you able to affect and help so many lives? And she's like, I just focused on the person in front of me.
Mm.
And that's the key, you know what I'm saying? Like in this moment right now, like you're the greatest influencer, man, you know what I'm saying, that I could have because like this conversation has brought up, so many memories and, really reminding me of like why we're doing this and what I'm saying, and give me that like spark again. I'm just coming off of like a 5-day binger, I guess you could say, like with the Champagne Wives Club, we weren't sleeping, just like man, I bet we probably drank $7,000 worth of Moet, in this last like 4 days, man. I'm just like, boy, like, and so it's in this moment, man, it's definitely I think what you got going on is great. You have a great spirit, I mean, I definitely want to be a part of this moving forward, within the future, anything we can do to help and assist you. This is what people need
Thank you, man. I appreciate it, brother.
for sure.
So what I wanted to jump into, man, is as we get ready to close out here, man, you've been through a good bit from your childhood, and then you chose to join the military. You experienced combat. You was on the verge of suicide, dealt with depression, identity, and a whole bunch of stuff, man. I just know that from listening to you that you are bottling like so much emotions, and I think that as a man, I know sometimes guys don't talk about some of these things. So I wanted you just, if you could elaborate a little bit or share with some of our listeners, either a woman that's listening has a guy in their life or a guy that's listening, the importance of just sharing your story, the importance of seeking help, the importance of seeking counsel, that type of thing, or just being vulnerable and transparent in regards to like getting some of these things out.
Yeah, man, definitely, the thing is, bro, when it comes to, the connection, right? We all want to be connected. You know what I'm saying? Like we want someone, we want to be heard, we want to be loved. What I'm saying? We have all of these things that we have to tear down. I often joke with my with my buddy Seven, who's like really just like my right hand man. When things get tough, man, he knows everything. I was like, bro, I feel like my vessel has been broken. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? Like where like I don't have these things that I'm holding in, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna come out and I'm gonna openly talk about things just because like I know other people need to hear it, right? Like if somebody wants to talk, listen to them. You know what I'm saying? If someone doesn't want to talk, sit there silently with them. You know what I'm saying? And just be there. Like you don't have to, like whatever you think in your mind that person needs isn't necessarily the thing that that person needs, right?
Mhm.
And so, we really think we look back at the oh man, I forgot the name of it now. Doggone it. It'll come back to me. But like in psychology, theory of mind, right? So we look at the theory of mind and how we believe that we can infer and think and know how other people are going to feel or how they're going to react to things. In reality, we don't, right? So the best thing we can do is just, if somebody wants to talk, listen to them. If they don't, sit there silently, right? And if you're and if you are a person who likes to share, always share. Continue to share. Like that's how I made it in the Web3, bro. I just show up on people's spaces and just like like, hey, like I'd request the mic and just come in, jump in the conversation. And if people liked me, I stuck around. If they didn't, I got the hell out of there, And I've had, bro, I've had the opportunity, man, to meet some of the coolest people, like, being in space with like Snoop Dogg and Warren G and Bun B. I mean, Chantel Lane, she sings Impossible and T-shirts, which are like Grammy nominated artists. Her track just hit 1 billion listens. These are people that like I kick with, like, she's my friend, like I literally have her phone number and we chat, and, working with Frank and all these major celebrities that, people look at. And the one thing I can tell you is that they're just normal people like us. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. Like, they want to be heard, right? They don't want, like, they want somebody to talk to. They want somebody that they can confide in. And at the end of the day, bro, we all have the same, that one same need that we all want. That's love.
That's what's up. I totally agree with you on that, man. Thank you for that, man. So when it's all said and done, man, if you could share and tell our listeners, bro, what do you think is your purpose, your God-given purpose here on earth? And then what is the legacy that Turbo want to leave behind?
Yeah, man, it's my gift from God is definitely the gift of gab. I've never met a stranger in my entire life, man. I've never met not one stranger, and at the end of all this, bro, like we're going to change the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, we are literally going to change the world. We're going to help people. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to uplift my city, out of poverty. You know what I'm saying? We're going to give people these vehicles to be able to be successful. We're going to let the robots flip the burgers, because ain't nobody born to work at McDonald's and flipping hamburgers. Ain't nobody born to do that. So we're going to train the robots to flip the burgers, and we're going to give people the opportunity to allow their passions and their dreams to pay their bills.
I never thought about it like that. Whenever people bring up bots and robots and AI, they talk about like eliminating jobs and stuff like that. But I kind of like how you put it. Like, God didn't put us here to be flipping burgers and doing all these things and stuff like that. We have other missions and other purpose here on this earth, man. So thank you for sharing that, man. I never even thought about it like that. So can you in summary, man, can you share with our audience what are some life lessons, business lessons, some key takeaway that they could put into their lives right now that could make an extreme impact for them?
Yeah, man. Right now, the number one thing that you can do, what I'm saying, is believe in yourself. You can do it. Like, whatever that thing is, what I'm saying, like, you can do it. When that thought comes to you, it came to you and only for you, right? We all have gifts and abilities that were given to us in the beginning, and only because of love, right? So use those gifts and abilities that we have. You know what I'm saying? And if there's other people that are doing the same thing that you're doing, work with them. You know what I'm saying? Like, call them, like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, how did you do this? Can you help me? Because people want to help each other. And if they don't, then they're not your people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I keep going back to that. Like, we waste so much time and energy with people in our lives that literally provide zero value. And then we'll continue to work and beg them to be a part of our lives, when we could literally just go find the people who want to help us, that are like us. You know what I'm saying? And people are like, well, how do I find them? Yeah, like, that's what the Web3 is doing, man. I got friends in every country in this world, right? Like, we were heading to the Chateau Elan, and I had a white shirt underneath my button-up shirt. And I get this call from London. It's my friend Juliana. She's like big into fashion over there. She calls me. She's like, Turbo, please take that white shirt off. Like, it looks ridiculous. Like, you have to take that shirt off, like, right now. And that's just it. You know what I'm saying? Like, probably, the average people don't have people calling them from all over the world to tell them to remove their shirts so they can look right. But they're out there. Your people are out there. Your tribe is out there. You know what I'm saying? I have a speech coming up in a talk coming up in Las Vegas in September, and we're talking about the difference between tribes and communities, and like how building tribes, is the ultimate way to form good communities and stuff. So really looking forward to that. So you'll definitely hear me talk a lot about that. I'm actually supposed to be on my breakfast show, so we might have to kind of like bring it together. But definitely, Michael, anytime that you need me, I definitely I'll be here. We could do this again and again.
Got you, bro. Last question for me, man. Bro, if anybody want to work with you, contact you, can you just shout out all that information so they can reach out to you, man?
Yeah, most definitely, guys. If you want to tap in with Turbo Maiden, you can definitely find me on Twitter at Turbo Maiden. You can also email me at turbomaiden@gmail.com. I do get lots of emails, but if you put in the headline, just something in bold letters or whatever, I would definitely get to you. You know what I'm saying? I'm always open to sharing my phone number and getting on the phone with people. We can get in the StreamYard or anything like that and have conversations. I'm over on in the Discord as Turbo Maiden as well. And yeah, man, those are the ways to be able to connect up with me.
My brother, thank you so much for joining me, man. It was an absolute pleasure. I know that we're going to be working together and talking here after this, man. So I just want to tell you, thank you so much. Be blessed, my friend. Until next time, everybody, for my guy, Turbo Maiden, I'm your host, Michael Allison. Peace. We love you.
And we love you guys. Thank you so much, Michael, man. This is amazing.
Peace.
Can't complain at all. Couple dollars in my pocket, no income and go. Been working on my body, getting healthier. Thank God for clarity.